All right, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is to open our VS Code, and that is what you are seeing here. VS Code is a code editor used to write programming languages to write and create programs. So I have created a folder here, and in this folder I have another folder inside, or we'll call it directory. So I'm going to use the word folder or directory, whichever one. And the second directory here, I called it calculator. So inside this directory, I'm going to make a new file that I will call, I'm going to call it index.html. All right, so this is where we're going to be writing our HTML code. The HTML is going to be the structure of the calculator that we want to create. So let me make it a little big so that you can see what we are doing here. But before I start writing, I would like to copy the path to this file that I've just created. So I will right click. Let me do that again. I will right click here, copy path, and then open my browser. I'm going to open a browser here. I'll paste, then I'll press the enter key on the keyboard. All right, so here there is nothing showing because I've not done anything. Okay, the HTML is blank. So I want to split my screen this way. All right, so that I'll be able to show you in real time what I'm doing. So once I do something here, I refresh this page, then you'll be able to see it. Let me close all this. Okay, I'm going to leave this one. The first thing I need to do, I'll put in my boilerplate, and the boilerplate can be generated by pressing Shift and number 1, then I press enter. So this is the boilerplate, and I'm going to change the title here. You can see this title. I'm going to change it to calculator because that's what we want to create. So once I'm done changing, I can click here, click on file. Sorry, that's not what I intend doing. Click here, hover on file, and then click on save. Or I can use the shortcut Control and S. So anytime I write my code, I'm going to save, then I'll refresh. Right up here, you can see the title has changed to calculator because that's what we have here. So another thing that I'm going to do is let me zoom out a little for you to see. Okay, it's better like this. I wanted to see somehow better the things that I'm typing. In between this body tag, I'm going to start adding the content that we need. So I'll first of all create a container with a class name calculator dot calculator, and then I press enter. That will give me a div element with a class name calculator, and then inside this calculator I'll start putting the items that I want. So the first thing that we need an input field with a label for the first number that we want to calculate. So I'm going to first create a label for, I'll call this first number, then, it's too long for me, let me call it number 1. Okay, so this label is going to carry the text number 1. When I save it and I refresh, you can see number 1 here. After the label, I will then put my input field. Just type input, press enter. The input I want to put in here is going to be text. It can be anything, it can be text, it can be number, but I'll change it to number. And After that, I'm going to give it a name, and this name is going to be num1, and I'm going to give it an ID of num12. Then after that, I think let me just put required. Okay, I save and I refresh. Right here you have our input field, so we can type both numbers and letters. It's only numbers we can type here, sorry, because the input type is number, so we can type numbers. That's fine. So the next thing we need to do right now is to create the operator field. Yeah, we're going to have operator field, and this operator is going to be a combination of addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. All right, so I'll come down a little bit and I'll put another label. This label this time is going to be for operator. Yes, for operator, and I'm going to call it operator. Yeah. Now, after that, I'm going to then put, this time around, I can put an input field, or I can use a drop down. So I'll try the drop down first, and maybe later on you can on your own experiment with an input field. So what I want to do now is I want to use the element called select. All right, this select here, I'm going to call it operator. That is the name, and then the ID also is going to be called operator. All right, so far let me save and then refresh. Okay, here we have it, but there is no option yet. So in between the selector element, I'm going to break it down. So here we start adding options. Okay, the option that we have here, we put in the value and the text. So the value that I want to put in here is the plus, and I will also put in the plus here. Okay, that's the first option. So I can do copy and paste, but now I'll type everything for you to see. And the next option, I'm going to put subtract, and I'll put it here again, subtract. Then here we go. The third option is going to be multiplication. So I'll put asterisk there, and I'll put asterisk here again. The last, which is the fourth one, another option, this is going to be division, and I'll put it here, division. So I save and I refresh. Okay, so here we have it: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, the third thing that we need to do here now is we're going to put the second number input field. So here I'm going to put another label, and this is going to be labeled for number 2. Yeah, the first one was number 1, so this is going to be for number 2, and I'll put here number 2. Okay, immediately after that we'll put our input field. The input type is also going to be number. That will be input type number, and the name I'm going to call it num2, and the ID I'm going to call it num2. Okay, so okay, one last thing I'm going to put here, required. I forgot to do that here, so I will do it up here. This operator select where are you? Okay, I put it on the first one, so let me save and then I refresh. So here we have number one operator. You choose the operation you want to perform and then you put the number 2 here. So for instance, I put 2 here, I put subtraction, and I put 12. So we need one more thing, a button that is going to trigger the calculation. We need to do that. So I will come down here. So I want to extend this. Maybe you can see clearly. You can see clearly what we're doing here. So these are 3 things that we've done, and this is the result. So down here, I'm going to just put in a button. There's a button, and I'm going to call it calculate. All right. So when we click on the button, it's going to calculate, and I'll refresh. So here we have it, calculate. But I'm going to give it an ID. Well, let me just give it a class name, a class, and I'll call it submit. Okay, so that's it for now. One more thing. If I fill in these fields, this is addition, I put another value, I click, nothing is going to happen because this is just an empty structure. Okay, I want to make this to be in block form, so the operator will come down, the second number will come down, then the button will be below. So for us to do that, we need to use line break. Okay, so here we have line break BR. I'm going to use it twice so that it gives me a spacing. Okay, that's good. But actually, I'm doing this because this is just HTML. So when we start maybe CSS, I'm going to show you a better way of doing this without using the line break. So I'll put it here again. I save. I refresh. Okay, so I need to bring the button down. The button here, I'm going to put my BR 2 times, and then okay. Don't forget, I make use of my Control S to always save before I refresh the page. So here we have our calculator structure in HTML done. All right. So I would like to stop this video here. The second video is going to be for the JavaScript. We're going to make this calculator to function. One last thing. I would like to put something underneath here so that when you do your calculation, then answer is going to show down here. Okay, for us to do that, under this button, I'm going to put something like I'm going to put something like H2, and I'll put in show. I'll put show answer. Okay, and then underneath I'm going to put horizontal line. All right, and underneath I'm going to put an H1 element with an ID of an answer. Okay. All right, you're going to see this and the H2 and the horizontal line, but this I will tell you why what we're going to do with it when we start the JavaScript. So I'm going to save and I refresh. Okay, that's it. So when you click on calculate, the answer is going to show under here. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Bye.